This Easter week, our ministry team and lay leaders have been reflecting upon the word resurrection for our collective spiritual contemplation. So I have joined them in pondering the meaning of resurrection and now share my reflection with you this day. I want to show you this plant, amaryllis, that I'm holding in my hands. 2 years ago, around Easter season, obviously before the pandemic, one of the church members gifted this plant to me, and I placed it on my church office desk. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it home for a while during the pandemic time. But a couple of months ago, I brought it home. I felt guilty about my neglect of this plant. And I wasn't sure whether it was dead or still alive, but I kept watering it. Needless to say, as you can see, this plant has survived and is alive again after going through the pandemic. Isn't it amazing? This experience made me think about the power of resurrection and its spiritual meaning. I thought the plant was dead, but I was wrong. I was just making an assumption. According to the Oxford Dictionary, resurrection means raising from the dead. It is the transformation of our assumption from death to life, from an end to a new beginning, and from an old self to a new creation. God acts and keeps working in us and around us. Resurrection is an untold chapter to be read, or a continued story to be told after a death, or an end when we believe that the story is over. In another sense, resurrection is God's language commanding that life never stops and that we do not remain dead permanently. Instead, God will continue to raise us from the dead and make things anew and transform our negative assumptions into new infinite possibilities for the making of new creations. God never stops working in us and around us and among us. That is the power of resurrection. God will raise us again and make us begin again no matter what. Resurrection is God's way to continue to bring new life, new birth, and new creation, even though we feel that life has been ruined, knocked down, and is no longer continuing. In God's reign, life never stops. A dark period of our life, or even suffering and death, are not the final word to God, not even in the pandemic. God will eventually renew us, rebuild our life, and transform us into a better life if we believe in God. Resurrection is God's transforming power and lead us to push through the power of darkness that threatens to stop us and to go backwards. God's resurrection power will help us to get up again and move forward and be enlivened and live forward. And please believe in the power of resurrection, like the example of this plant. This plant is speaking a powerful testimony to you.